I'm United States Senator Saxby Chambliss, and thank you for tuning in to our weekly YouTube address. We have a lot going on in Washington this week. We have the Defense Authorization Bill on the floor of the Senate, and we're hopefully going to complete that bill this week. That bill is very important to Georgia, but more importantly, it's of extreme importance to our men and women who wear the uniform of the United States of America, all great American heroes. It's important to our state because of the size of the military population we have, both active duty as well as Guard and Reserve. It provides for a pay raise for our men and women. It provides for a number of quality of life issues that are very important to not only the men and women in uniform, but their families as well. And also it provides for the authorization of the purchase and maintenance of weapons systems across every branch of the service. We have one key issue in this bill that I have been very much involved in, and that is how we treat detainees who are captured on the battlefield and what we do with them once they're captured. Now, that battlefield is a little bit unique in the current war on terror. It's not just the traditional battlefield that we might picture as being in Afghanistan or in Iraq or in any other country where we have armed warriors fighting each other. We also are fighting an enemy here on domestic soil. We've had a number of situations where U.S. citizens even, as well as foreign nationals, have been arrested inside the United States for attempting to carry out acts of terrorism. Today, this administration has absolutely no policy whatsoever on what will be done with an individual who is captured on that battlefield, whether it may be inside the United States or in Afghanistan. What we need to make sure of is that we're able to gather actionable intelligence from all of those individuals, and that's the purpose of the debate that is ongoing on the floor of the Senate as I am speaking to you right now. Another issue that's very much front and center in Washington today is the issue regarding the Keystone Pipeline running from Canada through the middle part of the United States down to our refineries in the area of Texas and Oklahoma. You know, it's very important that we continue down the road of becoming energy independent. And we're doing that in a very meaningful way, but we still have a long ways to go. And we know that we're going to have to continue to purchase petroleum products from sources outside the United States for the long term. But what we need to make sure of is that we're able to transport those petroleum products to the refineries in a cost-efficient way and in a time-efficient way. The construction of the Keystone Pipeline will allow us to do that. We purchase more oil from Canada than we do any other country. They have the oil sands in Canada, which are a very unique way of producing, as well as the pumping of oil out of those sands into pipelines towards refineries. I've been to the oil sands. I've seen how they function. And I know that Canada wants to continue to be a very good trading partner with the United States with petroleum products as well as other products. And what we need to make sure of is that we have an efficient way to get that oil from Canada down to the refineries and ultimately allow it to get into your vehicles and for other purposes in a very cost-efficient way. It's unfortunate that this president is playing politics with the Keystone Pipeline. He has decided to respond to environmental groups around the country who are opposed to the construction of this pipeline in a way that puts off the decision on the construction of that pipeline until after the election. I think that's wrong. I think people across America should be outraged at this because this is an issue that affects the pocketbook of every single American. I just returned from another trip to Afghanistan where I had the opportunity to look our brave men and women in the eye with their boots on the ground, tell them what a great job they're doing protecting freedom and protecting America and Americans, and also to have the opportunity to thank them for their service, particularly at a time over the Thanksgiving holiday where they're once again away from their families. And these special men and women are really something else that generates an emotion in me unlike anything that I do otherwise. They are truly great Americans. Senator Burr was with me. We had a great experience in Afghanistan, visiting not only our troops, but also visiting our intelligence officers who likewise are doing an outstanding job of gathering actionable intelligence for their primary customer, which is the United States military. Let me close by once again talking about the number one issue facing America and Americans today, and that's the issue of our long-term debt. The last time I addressed this issue in my weekly address, we owed about $14.5 trillion. Today, that number has reached over $15 trillion that America owes as a long-term indebtedness. That is simply unsustainable. We've been told by every economist around the country, conservative economist, liberal economist, has not made a difference, that if we as Americans don't get our arms around this debt, that it's going to consume us, and that we're going to be the next Greece, the next Portugal, or the next country that has to consider default on its financial obligations. We need to take action now to make sure that that does not happen. All we have to do is look across the Atlantic Ocean at what's going on with our European friends to see how serious this issue is, how concerning this issue should be to every American, and every American should be imploring their members of Congress to take action in the right way, to make sure that this generation of Americans is not the first generation of Americans to leave this great country of ours in worse shape to the next generation of Americans. As a member of the Gang of Six, I've been very much involved in this, and while it's been very controversial, it's been an absolutely necessary discussion. The pain is going to have to be felt by everybody. We didn't get into this in the short term, and we're not going to get out of it in the short term. And what that means is that every single American is going to have to participate in the process by paying their fair share of the price tag for helping us get out of debt. I don't know what the final solution is. I don't know what it should be, but what I do know is that you sent me to Washington to try to solve problems, and I'm doing my dead level best to do that. And I'm going to continue to work with folks on both sides of the aisle where we can to try to find a solution to this problem, just like we're working hard to find solutions to every other problem that faces our country. I look forward to staying in touch with you on all of these issues as we move forward. I will probably be making additional addresses between now and the holidays of Christmas, but I want to make sure I take every opportunity to wish every single Georgian as well as every American a very Merry Christmas and a very prosperous New Year. Thank you, and may God bless you.